All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to be working on the Rmax on the enclosure again, and as you can see, I threw the polycarbonate panel up there just to see how it's fitting, and it's not too bad. I mean, I knew there was going to be some trimming and some adjusting and stuff to get it to fit. It's not too bad. My thing I'm looking at right now is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a bit of a gap between the top there, and so I'm thinking about putting some washers under here to space that back to close up that gap some and see what that does. I was planning on putting like a gasket material around this anyhow to close up gaps like that, but obviously the closer I can get it, the less you have to worry about a big gap even with gasket material. So I think I'm going to yank that off there, throw some washers under there, and put it back on there and see how it works. Here's what I got going on the back of the window. Now, this is going to be to stiffen it up so it doesn't bend so much when I flex so much when we open it and shut it. I mean, it does just fine hanging, but when the gas prop's pushing on one side, I think it's going to torque it to death. So I'll go put one here, and then the hinge mount or the gas strut mount is going to be in through here somewhere. So I'm thinking about running another one down along this, and I don't know if I'll need to go all the way around or if just those two will be enough, but that's just going to be kind of a trial and error thing. So I'm going to yank this off, space those hinges out. Well, I made putting the door or the window back on easier. Now it's spaced out. Now let's check the gaps, see what that did. I don't know. It almost doesn't look like it did any good, did it all, did it? Huh. Well, that's all right. Like I said, I was planning on using a gasket to fill that in. I think it's a little tighter up through there. This front here is hitting down here at the bottom, because where the cage starts to come back out, it hits down here first, so it might be holding this out a little bit and not letting it go back. But back here where it's all nice and straight, that's pretty good there. So all right, now the next thing I need to do to try to get this thing, see how it fits, is I need to bend this across here so that this will lay down here without flexing that up there that's against the door. So I got to figure out how I want to put something behind there to hold that, so that I have a straight line basically to go for my bend and not having it bend just wherever. So I got to figure that out, and then we'll get back to see what we can do. This is the only part I'm not real sure about. I don't know how much heat it's going to take to form it. All right, I decided before I start on that big expensive sheet, I'm going to test it out here on one of these pieces of cut off scrap. I'm going to see, make sure there ain't nothing, that it doesn't do anything I didn't expect it to do with the heat, and exactly how hot I have to get it to bend and stay. So we're just going to test it out and see what happens. was straight earlier, and it's already kind of bowed up some, so that was the kind of stuff I wanted to see what happened when you put heat to it. Yeah, that worked. Put heat on the back side and it straightened it back out some. So you have to be careful how much you heat. Because that stuff will move around. It's going to take some heat to bend that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it only takes a little bit of heat and that stuff starts bowing on its own. See that tip right there is going down. A little heat to the underside. And it's starting to move right back up. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit more of a job than I thought it was going to be to bow that and bend it on that big sheet especially. Once it got warm, it went just nice and easy. Now, looks like it's bowed down a little bit, so I wonder if I put a little heat to the back. Now let's see what that looks like when it cools. It's a little sticky. I was also wondering how the heat would affect peeling off that protective layer, because I don't really want to pull that off there until I'm done, but I also don't want to glue it to the plexiglass by heating it. Yeah, it's quite toasty. Alright, we'll let that cool and see what... Alright guys, back. It is completely cooled back down to, you know, standard ambient temperature. And let me tell you, it took quite a while. It held that heat for a good long time. But let's peel this off and see what it did. It stayed right where I left it, and it looks pretty good and straight too. So, and it's backed as hard as it was. I mean, it ain't moving. So now the real question is does this stuff peel off, and what does it look like? Well, that peeled off just perfect. Looks great. Now, the bottom. I don't need to bend that much of an angle, but I went more just to see what it would do. But that looks good. I like that. Gives me hope for other projects that do require some bending. Got a little bit of pitting in the back. I don't know if that's... I don't know what that's from. Because it can't be from the 2x4. Because the 2x4 didn't touch it all the way over here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you can definitely see it from the back. It's like little air bubbles or something. I don't know. There, I see it now. At least, I don't know if you can. I can see it a lot better. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but because, you know, the 2x4 was clear up here, and all the pitting is out here. That's weird. I don't know what caused that. I don't know if it was from the heat on the plastic, because, you know, that looked like it almost melted. So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have heated it from the back. But yeah, it's all on the back, because you can feel it. And that does feel a little bit different. I don't know. I don't know. And it didn't do it the entire distance, just because the bottom there looks real good. If you can tell or not, which obviously it's got some distortion in there, which I knew it would have. I do not know. But other than that, I don't know why this crap won't stay out of the way, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I wish, like I said, I wished I knew why I did those bubbles, but I'm hoping I don't have that problem on the main piece, because I don't need to bend it that far. I just need it to go a little ways. There, now I can get rid of that. I don't know. I don't know. I'll ponder on it and see if I can figure anything out. Plus, I got to figure out how I'm going to get that piece secured so I can get it bent where I want it bent. Alrighty, I couldn't think of a better way to hold something back there for a line to bend against. So I just went ahead and cut another piece of tubing and welded it on there, and it comes out over there where I want it to be. And I mean, now I'm not trying to build it or to bend a hard line right on that. I just wanted a guide so that it didn't get soft enough and that I put, you know, a weird pressure on it that it wobbled in the bend or something. I just wanted a guideline for it so it hopefully bend in a straight line. I don't care if it's a big wide radius. That'd probably be better as far as, you know, making sure that it's easier to see through. But I'm going to throw it back on and see what it looks like, and you know, if everything works out, I might start heating it. I did look up heating and bending stuff, and it said maybe those bubbles were from moisture trapped in the polycarbonate, and they recommend a drying time. So I'm going to probably heat it and let it sit for a while and heat it, and you know, just keep it warm and slowly work up on getting it hot enough to bend. And then hopefully with the big bend, you know, it won't get those bubbles in it. So cross our fingers, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to throw it back on there and see what it looks like. I think that'll work. The hinge and my brace across there is going to help hold this top corner. And then I just missed the bottom of the door there with it, but put that bolt in there and I think that'll work good enough that it'll hold the door. I didn't want it poked out real far anyhow, because I won't be able to tell when I'm getting it close to where I want it if it's held out from the door an inch. So, and I mean, you can kind of see it already wants to bend along that line. So I'm gonna start warming it up, and when I think I'm about ready to start bending, we'll turn the camera back on. I got it pretty warm, so just gonna keep working at it until it starts doing something. It's been warm for a while, and I mean, you can feel the heat coming off of it. It's cooled down a little bit now, so I'm just going to keep slowly heating it back up until it looks like it might start bending. Oh, it's getting hot enough it was starting to leave marks in the door. Well, I don't know. Just don't know. I guess I don't have enough heat to bend it that much, or I need to hold it out so I can bend it further past. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure on it. I'll be back when I figure something out. making 7/8. We almost had it bent in a 90. I don't know how you bend it much more.
Watch, put your hand underneath, son.
That's what I'm doing. Roll to it.
Let's have to fix this. I think either way we're going to try it, probably. Take your hand off of it, son.
Like 30 and...
The 7/8 still.
Yeah. Oh, we were so close. We had 7 more 8s and we would have been at 30.
Alright guys, it's a different day. Nice and bright and sunny day out here. But I didn't record trying to bend that polycarbonate anymore because it turned into quite the job. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I fully expected to heat that up across there and it would just get kind of soft and be able to sag down into position. But we got it, but I didn't bend it on the machine. I had to take it off, and it just turned into a project where I didn't want to mess with the camera or anything. I was just trying to get it done, and it took the rest of the afternoon to get it bent, and 4 of us working on it. So I didn't record it, but I can give you a pretty good rundown of what happened. I took it back here and lined the line up across the bottom of this board. I used a ton of clamps and another board on top, and I had my wife sitting on top here, and me and the kids were pushing it down, and we pretty much had the heat gun on it as hot as the heat gun could get it across that entire width there. And between me and the kids, we pretty much bent that thing in a 90 just to get that little bit of bend that's in it there. So, and it looks pretty good. It was better yesterday when it was still warm. Now that it's cooled completely off, you can see that it's bowed out a little bit at this end and bowed out a little bit at this end. But I mean, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. But as you can see, you know, we're at least down here, whereas before we had like a 2-inch gap, you know, it hung out like that. So I think that's pretty good. I think when I put the steel tubing on the back to help brace it up, that it will actually pull that down a little bit straighter and flatten things back out. But that's where we're at, and I just need to get more of the tubing on there to brace it up and to get the hinge, the pivot point here mounted for the gas strut, and we'll be working.